If you're thinking about buying your own home or investing in Brisbane, then this is basically your 101 video. We're going to explain the Brisbane market in extreme detail in this one. So we're going to talk about Brisbane's short-term, medium-term, long-term history of performance. We're going to talk about the 5 specific markets in Brisbane. We're going to talk about some of the really positive data and sentiment around Brisbane at the moment and forecasts as well from some of Australia's leading analysts. And we're going to wrap the video up with what makes an incredible investment in Brisbane. Now, this isn't just Simon and I sitting here having a chat. This is based on buying over $250 million worth of property for ourselves and our clients over the last 6 years in the Brisbane market. We hope you enjoy. Cool, bro. So one of the things that we're always talking about here is just this concept of remembering the future. And we don't have a crystal ball. We don't know what's coming next. But what we do know is the 10-year, the 20-year, and the 50-year performance of Brizzy. So why don't you sort of lay it out on the line for people?
Yeah, man. Well, we're obviously major metro market investors. And with Brisbane being the 3rd largest capital city in Australia with about 2.7 million people that are living here at the moment, you know, we wanted to see how this market has performed historically. So the guys at Homely put together this really interesting article, which you can probably find with a detailed search on Google, where they looked at the performance of Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, and Perth over a 50-year period. Now, that was from 1976 through to 2016. What was crazy is that Brisbane was actually the top performing market out of those 4 over that 50-year period, increasing about 9.7% year on year. Now, obviously there's some winners and losers in there, and you know, markets go up and down over that 50-year period, but 9.7% on average is pretty damn amazing. And then looking at the 20-year performance, it wasn't nearly as good as the 50-year performance, but still going up about an average of 6.5%. So still done quite well over the last 20 years. And you know, that's where we really like to look at markets as well. We don't necessarily look at the 1-year performance, 5-year performance, or even 10-year performance. To really understand how a market moves, you've got to look longer term. Because if you were to look at Brisbane over the last 10 years, it's actually only gone up about 3% on average. So it is significantly underperformed in comparison to, say, a Sydney or a Melbourne. And that's why we really like the look of it at the moment. Now, obviously, Australian market isn't just one big market. Even these big capital cities aren't just one market. Same down in Sydney, same in Melbourne, same up here in Brisbane. You know, we really see about 5 different markets up here in Brisbane, all of them with similarities, but all of them with a few differences as well. So why don't you take us through that?
Sure, man. So I suppose like Brisbane, the same as Sydney and Melbourne, really has 5 distinct districts. Now, Brisbane has the CBD, which I really just wrap everything within 10k radius of the city. That area is done extremely well. Now, in terms of that part of the city, it's quite expensive now. It's had a hell of a run in the last 3 years. And as a result, prices are quite high and rent returns are a little bit lower now. Now, that would be a great area for an investor or for an owner-occupier if they want great school districts, great infrastructure, great access to the CBD for work, and if they were looking to hold for a 15, 20, 30-year period, because it's gone up so well in the last couple of years, you know, maybe some of those shorter term gains might have already been priced into that market. Now, one of the other more popular parts of the city is the eastern beaches of Brisbane. They're kind of the closest beaches to the city. You're looking at your Manlys, your Wynnums, some of those beautiful suburbs just north and south of that. Now, again, that area has been really heavily speculated on. Lots of beautiful brand new homes, beautiful renovations going on there at the moment too. Again, I've seen prices there almost double over the last 6 years. So if you're looking for an absolute bargain, maybe that's not the area for you. But if you're looking for an incredibly high quality, long-term blue chip hold, that area of the city could be great. Now, where I see a lot more value personally is the north side of Brisbane and the south side, which are the 3rd and 4th parts of the city that we like. What we like about those areas is they're still very affordable, still have very strong rent returns, also have extremely good infrastructure, really low vacancy rates, and have that sort of eastern Melbourne, southern Sydney type vibe in the sense that lots of families living there, lots of good income earners, lots of combined households, lots of young families will start or have started in the last 10 years there too. And because of that, we see huge value in those particular parts of the city. The last part of the city is Western Brisbane. So much land at the moment still out there, like hundreds of years worth of land effectively. There is big projects going on there, but just for me at the moment, few too many greenfield sites. We're sort of not really touching or focusing on that part of the city. But the rule for Brisbane is so simple. Buy closer to the city when you can afford to, or the beach. You know, buy those high quality areas that you know the mum and dads want to live in longer term, and buy the parts of the city that have yet to receive that ripple effect. You know, what I love about Brisbane is you can look at a suburb and some of them have gone up by 500k in the last 2 years, and then the suburb next to it's only gone up by 50 or 100. So there are many parts of Brisbane, particularly in the south and north sides of the city, where the ripple effect hasn't yet gone all the way through. And we see incredible opportunities. So let's talk to that a little bit more, man. Like, why do we like Brisbane? Like, what are some of the big pieces of data that we've found recently that sort of sell the sizzle for the next 30 years?
Yeah, it's always nice to have some form of confidence as to what could happen in the future. And I guess the best piece of information that we've come across this year was that article from the Australian Financial Review. Now, after Brisbane successfully got the Olympics, the Australian Financial Review came out with their predictions, and basically they're indicating that they believe real estate values are going to double between 2021 and the 2032 Olympic Games. Now, who knows what's going to end up happening? Obviously, nobody can really predict the future, but it's pretty rare that you actually find somebody committing to throwing out something like that as well. So, you know, anywhere close to that, I'll be pretty happy.
I'd be happy with half of that.
Exactly.
Incredible.
But we'll obviously see what happens as time unfolds. You know, one of the other things that I love about Brisbane is just how many people have moved here over the last 18 months to 2 years since COVID began. It was insane when you actually look at the numbers from the ABS as to where the movements have been. I believe there's been over 30,000 people that have moved into southeast Queensland since the beginning of COVID, and it's still happening, and that's actually drawn down those vacancy rates quite substantially. Looking at SQM, they're indicating that the vacancy rate's currently sitting at about 1.6% on average in Brisbane. So that is chronically undersupplied. A lot of the areas that we focus on still have vacancy rates between 0.5 and 1.5%. Now that's really good for those investors that are holding rental properties, because most people have been able to increase their rental return and decrease that vacancy period. Now, on top of all that, one of the reasons that we absolutely love Brisbane is the fact that 75% of Australia's population and job growth is concentrated in Melbourne, Sydney, and southeast Queensland. So that's pretty good odds banking for the future as to where people are going to be moving. Now, it's actually predicted that Brisbane's population is expected to soar to 5 million people within the next 25 years, bringing it to the same size as Sydney today. So as always, it's never the one silver bullet that you're looking for. It's a combination of all of these different factors to give you the confidence when identifying the next area to invest in. But I guess for those people that are looking to purchase a property in 2022 in Brisbane, what makes a good property up here?
I love that, bro. Now, for those of you who haven't already seen, check out our other YouTube videos where we get really specific around how to identify the right market, suburbs, properties, streets in Brisbane. We've also got the Pumped on Property Show podcast, which is available on Spotify and Apple, that you can check out too. But it really comes back to fundamental basics. So absolutely a quiet street, a house, because houses have outperformed units in Australia according to CoreLogic for the last 25 years. Even through the current cycle, they've outperformed units in a quite a major way in Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane over the last couple of years. So definitely houses. We like the 600 square metre blocks with the nice wide frontages. You could be going for a 3-bedroom home or a 4-bedroom home. Both of them rent really well and resell really well in Brisbane. On top of the quiet street, we want a good quality position in the suburb. We want a suburb that has good infrastructure, good schools, good access to transport, good access to the CBD or the Gold Coast or the Sunshine Coast, depending on the lifestyle and the appetite that people are looking for in the area as well. On top of that, we also want low vacancy rates, a high DSR score, a high demand to supply ratio score. but not too high where things are just going absolutely feral at the moment. We want a suburb with good average household incomes as well, or a changing demographic. So in 5, 10, 15 years, more and more wealthy people are going to want to live in that area. And we want an area where people take pride in their homes and there's a good percentage of owner-occupiers. So that's sort of our Brisbane wrap in today's video. We're so grateful to bring some of this information through to you. If you are seriously looking at buying in Brisbane in the next 3, 6 or 12 months, please jump over to our website, www.pumpedonproperty.com, and book in a free strategy session with myself, Simon, or someone from the team, and we'll talk about exactly where you are right now, where you'd like to be in the future as an investor, and then we can educate you on the Brisbane market, and you can take that education, which will be a lot deeper than today's video, and go and smash it on your own, or maybe you can become one of the extremely small number of clients we take on each month as a buyer's agent. But either way, we truly do wish you guys all the best. I love Brisbane for the next 20 years. I really like Brisbane over the next 10 years, but like any market, there'll be periods where it goes up and down over that period. So please always invest with confidence and safely, and please subscribe to the channel below. Cheers, guys.
Thanks.
Sweaty. So sweaty. Oh, that's good.